Welcome, Watchers of Illusion, to my Castle of Confusion. I'm looking at Destruction Derby on the PlayStation 1 today. This was actually requested, so thank you ever so much for that. Brought me right back, to be honest, because this was one of the games I actually had on the PlayStation. It was one of the... I've never been one for racing games, as you're probably already aware. But this was a bit different. This had some interesting features that we'll go through as we play. So as we select our cars, you've got an easy, medium, intermediate and advanced, I think. Each car having, I guess, weaker points, because as the game name suggests, it's not just your bog standard racer. You have the ability to smash the crap out of your cars and your obviously the racing cars as well. So let's have a look at the UI as we go. So as you can see, we've got race points in the top, lap number in the top right, bottom left is the position that you're in the race, and then in the bottom right you can see your car. Now all those little green indicators show that the car is perfectly healthy, but as you take more hits, they will turn red, and then if your radiator goes, then you're basically screwed. So that's the kind of aim. So it is this version of the game anyway. This is a it is a racing game. You can see now that some of the points on the right hand side of my car are now yellow. That's not a good sign, and now I've got some really bad impacts on the right hand side of the car. They've turned red. That's not too bad, but at the front of your car, where your radiator sits, that's important. If that gets hit too much, then it's game over. So yes. Now that they did two other games in this series, there was Destruction Derby 2 and Destruction Derby Raw. Each one, I think, just built on the previous game. Now I remember Destruction Derby 2 being particularly... Well, I found Destruction Derby 2 to be the best of the three. If my memory's serving me right. I mean, it's been a while since I've played these. But Destruction Derby 2 had the Destruction Bowl, which basically had you all just going straight into the centre and smashing each other to crap in the middle of the crash bowl, which is brilliant. This one only had racing tracks, but there were a few. I'm going to try and take you through as many of them as I can. There you go, my radiator's blown, so that's game over. We'll swap cars because I think the handling is probably better on the beginner's car anyway. So we'll have a look at that in a sec. Just wait for it to load. But this was actually not too bad a game. It's no Ridge Racer, I'll tell you now, but it's not a bad effort, to be honest. Taking the traditional racing game and putting in the destructive elements of the cars, which was a really good idea, and it actually did decrease the performance of your car the more damage you took. So you wanted to try and keep yourself on top of things as much as you possibly could, and the control system helps you a little bit with that. So you've got accelerate, brake, handbrake, and you've got steering, obviously left and right, and then you've got like power steering, which is attributed to the shoulder buttons, so you can sort of power around corners a little easier. But with any racing game, just come off the throttle a little bit on the corners and you will drift around them a little better. Now there's 12 laps, which is a little bit excessive, but it adds to the tension, I suppose. And you're never really sure where anybody else is. And I think race points are down to how much damage you do to other players, I think. You could also hook your console... Oh, there we go. There's a nice little meeting of cars going on here. Yeah, you could hook up your PlayStation and have, I think it was 8 players on local co-op. So if you had 2 PlayStations with multi-taps, you could just, 8 players in a race. Which I don't think I've ever known anyone to have ever done that. So here's over to you guys. Have you ever played this game with all players, or at least 8 players being human? Let me know in the comments, because I'd like to hear your feedback on this game. Did you play this game when it was out? And did you enjoy it? I'm not going to talk sequels yet, because we're just concentrating on this one. If you had Destruction Derby on the PS1, let me know, and what your thoughts are. Was this a game that you played frequently? And do you know what? The loading times aren't awful either, which is nice. But yeah, it is. It's they've been quite clever, really, because even though I think there's well, there's 20 cars. I think it can handle... how many can it handle? I think it's 8 cars at once on the screen without any slowdown. Now, the way they've done that is quite clever. They've reduced the graphic output for the crowd, and there's another couple of tips and tricks going on under the hood to keep it nice and smooth and frame rate high without any noticeable dropout in speed, which is really good. So that's a definite plus. The only thing I would say is, the radiator's gone again. The only thing I'm going to say is it doesn't really bring anything new to the racing table, apart from the fact that your car can now, it can be damaged to the point where you can't race anymore. The only issue with that is, realistically, is that it can be a little bit quick sometimes. The AI is, I suppose, fairly good. It's not overly aggressive, but it certainly can be a bit stupid at times, because they will get in your way and they'll stop, and you'll get clusters of cars sitting right in the middle of the track, which you just can't avoid. So there's a sort of element of skill to this game, but if you like racing games with a little bit of destruction, then this is the game for you, totally. And I think you'll enjoy it. If you like racing games in general, this is probably one of the better ones on the PS1, especially for the time of year, for the actual sort of year it was released. But it brings a more, let's say, realistic element to it. Because you've got car damage. How the hell did I just manage to avoid all them? Oh, skills, my friends, skills. That guy's just going the other way. He doesn't care. But I think they've done a very, very good job in keeping this as a, it's not an intense racer, but it's certainly enjoyable and great fun. And you can play 2 players, or if you've got a multi-tap, you can play 4 players on PlayStation 1. If you've got a big telly and a PlayStation with a multi-tap, then just go and have some fun. But it's nice as well. It's a fair amount of tracks, which is great. I'm going to try and take you through a few of them in this review, and let's move on to sound, because the sound is also very good. You've got all the nice bone crunching effects as the cars hit each other. You've got pumping soundtrack as well, which you'd expect for this sort of game. I would have been disappointed if it was lame. But yeah, they've got a good soundtrack going on here, and of course, Psygnosis. Well, why wouldn't it be a good game? They've churned out some classic games over the time with the Amiga, PlayStation, and a lot of other computers as well. You can see my bonnet is absolutely screwed. That's the hood, by the way, for all you American viewers out there. I hope everybody's doing well, by the way. And it's I do apologise. This one's been out. I've had this one ready to go for a while, but it's been one of those weeks where I just haven't seemed to have stopped. It's going to be a bit quiet on the old review front next week as well, because I'm actually out of country for 4 days, starting from Wednesday. So from Wednesday there won't be any channel content until I get back the following week on the Monday. So look for something hopefully on the Tuesday, early April, but I'm planning on bringing you some more stuff before then. So yes, don't worry, there will be things to watch, but yeah, there won't be anything new over the course of next week from Wednesday. But it's only a short trip, so don't worry, I'll be back the following week on the Tuesday. So it's only literally 6 days, I think, that there won't be anything on the channel. But as soon as I get back, I should be playing myself straight back into it. But a break is needed from life in general, so that's what we're doing. I'd say me and my good lady are going away for a few days, so that will be lovely. So back to the review. Sorry, I got sidetracked there, but yeah, this is a great game, and I think if you, like I said, if you enjoy racing games, you are going to enjoy this game. And having the extra bits to look out for, like your damage of your car, that's an extra element for you to look out for. Some of the tracks are really quite good as well. I quite like this beach track here, which is really nice. There's a little bottleneck there, which it's quite funny because some of the tracks actually sort of promote a good smash up. I think if it had been more engineered towards the destruction side of things, because I think if you're going to have a game that's called Destruction Derby, I think it's only fair that your car should be able to take a hell of a lot more damage. maybe just take away the realistic element for a while and let the fun roll, because there's nothing more fun in a game to actually smash the crap out of everything that you're driving against. As in Burnout, for example, they did that's a prime example of mashing your car without it actually exploding or stopping on you. But I think they fixed that in the later games, which I will be looking at, so fear not. The dungeon is well overdue a feeding, by the way. I've got a potential candidate lined up. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'll hopefully get that one out to you tomorrow. And yeah, well, that's something to look forward to. Another Dungeon of Drax. Yes, the dungeon hungers. So we must feed it. There you go. So playability-wise, this game is incredibly playable and it's very enjoyable. So if you've not played Destruction Derby on the PS1, I suggest that you get your little retro hands on a copy and give it a go. As you can see, graphically it's held up quite well even today. So yeah, and replay value, well, there's not a lot of replay value as far as like content's concerned, but you would come back to it and play it again, I think, and especially if you've got friends round and you can multi-tap it. I think, to be fair, that's where the actual entertainment value is going to lie. I'm about to lap third place here. So yeah, and age rating, well, any really. I mean, you're just going to drive around and bump into things. It's like adult dodgems, isn't it? If anyone doesn't know what dodgems are, by the way, bumper cars at the fairground. I don't know what you Americans or foreigners would call it. What do you call it when you have those like cars on those electric tracks and you can bash into each other? Although they tell you not to go on head-on collisions, which is just quite frankly bizarre, as it's the whole point of the bloody things. Anyway, it's like fairground thing where you get into these little, like, they've got rubber bumpers on them and you can just batter out. What's it called elsewhere? It's called dodgems and bumper cars in the UK. So let me know. Anyway, guys, that's about it from me. I'm going to leave it there. I'll leave you with a couple of minutes footage with the volume up so you can check this out. But this has been Destruction Derby on the PlayStation 1. And I've been Rich. This has been the Retro Revival Show. Hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks for tuning in. And hello to all of you new guys. We're almost at 1,000 subs. Come on, guys, 3 more. I think we need 3 more. Let's get people involved. But thank you ever so much for people that are tuning in and subscribing. Thank you very, very much. And if you enjoy my content, then hit that subscribe button. Have a look at some of the other content that's on the channel. We've got a lot of videos. There's something for everyone, I promise you. But until the next time, where the dungeon will be getting fed, I will bid you a very good evening. This is not midnight quite just yet, so yeah. So that's it from me. Catch you again later, and as per normal, you keep it retro, and it's bye for now. Ta-ta!